New Zealand's tour of South Africa has definitely turned heads. I mean, they have dismantled the South African franchises. They are looking incredibly confident. And I don't know if this is a true reflection of where the South African rugby franchises stand, or simply just, provincial teams that are missing their key Springboks. To help us unpack a little bit, we've got South African rugby content creator Xhanti Mbane. Xhanti, welcome to the show.
Hi to all the listeners.
Oh,
Glad to be here.
thank you so much. Are we overreacting? But we've seen the score lines with the All Blacks against the provincial teams. What do you make of it?
Yeah. Look, you can't make too much of it. I'm not to state the obvious, but it is pretty obvious that we are sort of in a preseason when it comes to our franchises. The URC kicks off on the 25th of September. So by the looks of just how things would have gone, I think the players would have been only back 2 weeks into preseason now if it was just a normal sort of season. But with the All Blacks touring, they've kind of had to come in, put in 3 weeks, 2 weeks shift, and put a team together to face them.
So, what? And I know this is sort of a rhetorical question, right? The score's looking very dramatic. Yes, we know that the teams were not at full strength, but how much of this was New Zealand simply reminding everyone, you know what, we're the All Blacks?
Yeah, no, that's true. If there's anything, we need to always remember that this is the second-ranked best team in the world. And even if you looked at the conditions in New Zealand, the law is that, the New Zealanders have got a lot of skill. In New Zealand, it's kind of wet most of the time in their rugby season. So it's something that they've been sort of popular with, their skill set, their ability to catch and pass in such conditions.
So I wanted to ask you, Dave Rennie, he's got the squad that are playing with real confidence. And what for you stands out most about the so-called new look All Blacks?
Look, there have been some different selections to obviously the previous coach. We are all aware of obviously the changes that have happened in New Zealand in their coaching setup. A lot of people in New Zealand are still asking questions about the Duplessis Karifi, but he decided to bring in a Luke Jacobson. If there's anything, Dave Rennie does look like he's similar to a Rassie, where he picks according to the skill set that he's looking for. And if there's anything, this depth is showing us, or rather his team selections are showing us how he's looking to play, how he wants bruisers, he wants guys who can sort of clean the breakdown point, he wants guys who work hard. He's not really into your more hybrid guys who can play differently to what is needed in that particular position.
And when you hear him say something like, it was almost like we were training for the Springboks, I guess you got to believe him, right?
No, you have to. You have to. And then to bring in that, I mean, Dave Rennie would have had 6 days before facing France in the Nations Championship. So I think he's only now getting a bit of time to practice a few things. I mean, we are Springbok fans. We've seen Rassie throw things in a game and we're also confused. But I think he's gotten that opportunity now to try out a few things, see a few combinations, play some players. Because again, with where New Zealand rugby is sitting, they are not in that luxury to make the amount of changes that we make in the team. So to give a player like Kyle Preston a chance, Timothy Tavatanawai, a lot of newer guys coming in, it's perfect time to do that during these club games, for sure.
And if you were Rassie Erasmus, watching from your couch, what would you be doing right now? Would you be reaching for your notebook?
No, definitely. One thing I did want to mention with your first question is that I think what should worry us is what we see on the field, and I know for a fact that's what Dr. Rassie Erasmus and his team will be doing, is just seeing what they're doing, looking at the amount of passes. Are they kicking the ball? Are they passing the ball? Is it quick rucks? Are they mauling? Where are they leaning on when it comes to just how they attack, how they defend? So it's more of those nuances that they'll be trying to pick up on. Also taking into consideration that maybe Dave Rennie will not sort of put all of his cards out there for Rassie to see as well. So it's more of just looking what their basics are, what are their chase lines, and just their structures.
And speaking about structure, this rivalry, it's 105 years on, that's the Springboks and the All Blacks. And that's why it's called the greatest rivalry series. This rivalry just doesn't seem to end.
No, 100%. And I think You do say it does go back, and right now things have changed so much. The sport has become professional. You know, South African teams have left Super Rugby, has gone to the URC. So I think we are also sort of learning things as we go. But I mean, the world's number one versus the world number two. This is watching the World Cup final 2023, like four times back to back. So definitely, I mean, there were comments coming out of New Zealand that got people talking, but this is definitely a more difficult thing to win compared to actually probably a World Cup. Also, considering the amount of games you would play in playoffs in a World Cup and playing the All Blacks or the Springboks playing the All Blacks, vice versa, four times back to back is quite the challenge for sure.
It's quite the challenge. And I mean, it's called the greatest rivalry series for a reason. Now, between
Yeah.
the Springboks and the All Blacks, who has the more pressure for the battle for world number ranking? Or do you think Rusty actually cares?
No, he definitely does. He definitely does. I think obviously with the groups and stuff already being sort of sorted out for the World Cup, it doesn't really matter as much as it would have maybe last year, which is something he also spoke on quite a bit. Um, but I think both ways. I mean, these are two teams that are sort of in two different trajectories. For the All Blacks, obviously they've got a new coach in. It's a year out of a World Cup. They really want to turn things around. And for the Springboks, I mean, it's how many years? It's 7 years now that that Rassie has been on the helm. Many of those guys that he started with are now hitting 100 caps. We've seen your Villies, Sia. We've seen a lot of guys, and there's a lot of guys who are probably going to hit 100 caps in these tests going into like your Damien Islanders as well. So, two different pressures, I would say, pressure both ways, but I wouldn't put them in the same box.
And also knowing Rusty, he's such a master. He's already probably planning three steps, if not more, ahead.
No, definitely. And I think how he's strategically rested a few players so that, I mean, he does say, and I mean, I think in the media and also just in how to perceive the team, he really wants us to think about the Springboks as a team. He doesn't want us to be singling out certain players. But I think in the back of his mind, he understands motivation. He understands these are four games back to back, and he understands on that second test, on that third test, if you're saying on that third test, this is Damien Islanders' 100th cap, this is Cheslin Colby's 100th cap, that brings a different sort of element to sort of the hype for the game. So I think those type of chess games he may have played in terms of when he rested certain players so that they hit that 100th cap sweet spot in that greatest rivalry.
And we cannot wait. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for helping us unpack what has been quite a tour so far. I think the provincial games may be over, but the real heavyweight battle still to come. And I think rugby fans across Africa will be watching every moment. Thank you so much, Xhanti.